Welcome to Relationship Unscripted. We're dropping truth bombs about the good, the not so good, and of course,
what the hell is wrong with your relationship?
You don't know what you don't know.
Or you may need to have several seats and get your life together.
Who does know? Well, we do. So let's talk about it. This is Relationship Unscripted with that dude, your host, Coach Ken.
Play no games, tell no lies. It's Relationship Unscripted with your host, that dude, Coach Ken.
This is Relationship Unscripted. My name is Coach Ken. Welcome back. This is going to be part 2. So if you know if there's a part 2, there has to be a part 1, which means if you understand what part 1 was, which was our podcast about ultimatums, you already know who our guest is. We have her back, yes, and you are welcome. You know who you are. So Aisha Grevenberg, therapist extraordinaire, practicing currently out of Vegas by way of Jersey. So shout out to the East Coast. All right, I'm coming out with a warm us up question. We got to the back end of our conversation. I asked you about spades. This time, we want to find out a little bit more about you before we jump into this conversation. So I know that you have said that you are an avid Jordan shoe person, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite pair of Jordans?
So right now I have some rose gold Jordans that are fire. They're so nice. I don't even wear them. Like, what is that about? You know what I mean? Like, I wear them certain times, but then I'm just like, I just want to look at them. So yeah, I have some Jordans that I love. Those are my favorite, the rose gold.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So as everybody is already aware, if you listen to podcast number 1, Aisha was very on task about letting us know about ultimatums. More importantly, how they play out in relationships and how they can seemingly go your way in some aspects, because we did ask, is there ever a good time to do one? Also listening to part 1 in ultimatum, she shared with us her personal journey some years ago as she gave an ultimatum and how it played out. And that was the basis of what we did in podcast 1. Now, in podcast number 2, one of the questions I got was, is there a run-up to ultimatums? And as that question was being presented, Aisha was, again, spot on with what she was coming back to me with, which is what we're going to talk about today. And that is manipulation versus communication. Now, in my mind, we're all going to learn something today, because normally I can prep, I can get my notes together, but I'm a student as well as a host today. So a lot of the questions that I'm asking are from a genuine place. I want to know, because the information that I get, I want to be able to pass on to other people, because it is 1000% about growth. Mm-hmm. So let me ask this, is manipulation versus communication, is that a part of the ultimatum, or is that a run up to ultimatum?
I think it would be more a run up. And the reason being is because clear communication and shared information. Mm-hmm. So shared information is key, right? And I was telling you before, I absolutely, and it's funny, but hear me out, I don't really harp on communication being like the number one thing for relationships. I really don't. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is shared information. And what I mean by shared information is that you need to know my intent. And it's very important that we mature to the point that we can discern intent in others, right? Okay. And so shared information means if you know exactly what I want, what direction I'm going, what my expectations are, then you can make a decision. But if I don't give you information that clearly states my intent, then that's being manipulative. And then that's what puts you in a situation where now I got to give you an ultimatum. And now I got to put the hammer down on you because I wasn't clear about what it is I really want.
Gotcha. Now I have a formula that I like to use. You're welcome. Anybody that's listening to this podcast, welcome to use it, but give a brother some credit. But here, based on what you said, my formula for that would be communication minus information equals speculation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, again, didn't know I had stumbled up on something, but I've said that for the longest. So communication minus information equals speculation, which is the forerunner to confusion.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. All right, so America, I'm on the right track here. I'm trying to tell y'all I got some skills. All right, so here we go. Now, what would you say is the hurdle, the challenge for us as just people trying to get to a space of communication versus manipulation? What is our big hurdle for that?
The number one hurdle that I experience personally and that my clients experience is just the way that we're socialized and the way that we're raised and we're taught how to communicate with people. And as a woman, especially living here in Vegas, like Vegas is lit. The moment me and you wrap this up, over. Your girl is in the streets. You understand what I'm saying? And being here, and I'm a much more mature woman now. When I was younger, the idea was to be chosen, right? And now we say, pick me, right? And it's true. And that narrative is something that girls are really raised with. Like, you get a man, hear me out. Mm-hmm. And so you want the most powerful, most successful man. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that this man has an option and you want to be chosen. And that's the language of music. That's the movies that we see. That's the message. Like, you want this successful man to see you out of all these women and choose you, right? And it's like that here in Vegas. Like, you're going to go wait in the line for 2 hours? Of course not. I'm going to the front and you're going to let me in, period. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's the language that we're raised with. Like, this is manipulation. Like, you want to be chosen. So what does it take to capture the attention and hold it of a very successful man? That's manipulation. And the same thing with men. Like, well, how do you get this beautiful woman to choose you when she can choose anyone? What do you have to do to attract her and to keep her? So all of that is manipulation, because we're not having conversations at all. It's all about, this is an object. This is success and money. Get it. This is an object. This is beauty. Get it. So it's pure manipulation from childhood.
Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, and again, slide me back into my lane if I didn't get this. If I'm understanding you correctly, so if I'm making this up, ladies and gentlemen, Club Get Down up in Vegas, right? And I pull up in a 2015 Chrysler 300. Okay, whatever. But the dude that pulls up in the Lambo, you're suggesting that he is doing that for a reason.
What I'm saying is that those are all, that's a performance. And it's a performance to get the attention that you want, right? It's a performance. And so obviously you want attention when you pull up like that, right? Mm-hmm. That's everything stops. You pull up in slow motion in the Lambo. You know what I mean? And you pull up slow with the windows down, you're going to see me in this car. You understand? And there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. And so if you say to me, yeah, I like to look good, I like to flex, I like to, I don't have a problem with that. But mm-hmm. you want that to have a certain impact. That's manipulation. You want someone to see that and have a certain reaction. You're trying to control how people see you. That's manipulation. People are free to make any kind of decision that they want to make about you. Any type of decision.
I have this thing in coaching where I think all relationships go through approximately 7 phases. So you go through the initial meeting. Hey, how you doing? What's up? And y'all exchange information. Then after that, you go through phase 2, which is the discovery phase. The discovery phase is when we run it all through their social media, who know them, who don't know them. We're trying to get some info on them. If no red flags come up as a part of the discovery, then we're moving to basic agreement of connection and interaction. How we going to vibe? How we going to date? Are we going to message each other? So on and so forth. That's where that comes from. So I'm saying all that to get to the point of, once we get to we're vibing, because I think from the initial meeting, it's not necessarily us. That's that manipulation piece.
That's the avatar. That's avatar of us.
Exactly. And so the discovery is, I need to find out who exactly this person is. I know who they presented themselves to be, but let me find out a little bit more about the person, not the character or the avatar, but the person.
Right.
Again, if there are no red flags, we move into basic agreement of of connection. And so, or connection or interaction. And so if we do that, now we're on the other side of manipulation, because I think, and this is a question for you, at what point do you get to the other side of manipulation? You found out now, dude that pulled up in the Lambo was leasing that joint. Matter of fact, that wasn't even his, that was his boys. He just dropped him off at the airport. So this is his dude, this is his man's Lambo. And he don't really got it like that. So he's presented a tremendous front. When do we get to the other side of manipulation?
I think that starts with each individual understanding that that's posturing. There's a reason people do the things that they do. And so when you have a lot more comfort in yourself, you can't see anyone to the degree that you can't see yourself. And when I was moving in that energy, like I'm the baddest chick in here, woo, 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 Google me, why, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll take your dude. Like my hair don't even touch my ears and I'll take your dude. Like that vibe, that energy. But when you move like that, you attract that.
For sure.
That's the energy, that's the vibration, that's what you're attracting. And none of that says anything about who you are. None of it. And so getting to a point when you realize, yeah, congratulations about your face, right? It's great. Congratulations. I don't know. You want a prize. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But can I actually interact with you? Can I be with you on a Tuesday night and can we just joke? Because that's not about looks.
For sure.
That's not about the Lambo. But when you can't connect with who you are authentically, you'll never be able to connect with someone else authentically. So it's an inside job. It's really an inside job. And if you see people that they not no 10, they might be a solid 5. You understand what I'm saying? In every way, but they confident, that's the person you want to be around. They're comfortable, they tell jokes, they might, all this might not be a 10, but they groomed up, teeth is clean. You understand what I'm saying? I've been to the dentist. You know what I mean? Skin is clear, they take care of themselves, they carry themselves well, and they're confident. Like, this is who I am. Okay, let's do that. Isn't that more refreshing?
Yeah, if it was all true. Now I'm rocking with you. I'm rocking with you. You got me there.
All right.
But it sounds like a fantasy, because if it was, now let me be clear, I 1,000% agree with you. Everything you're saying is big facts. Mm-hmm. However, the reality of it says when we roll up, when we drop off, when we roll up to the club, when we pull up, when we do all these things, we're doing it for a reason, right? For whatever. So what is missing in us? What is the emptiness that is in us that would not allow us to be our authentic selves? And I think you touched on it by saying, we want to be that one, whether it be male, female, whoever. We want people to recognize who we are. Mm-hmm. Are you suggesting to the degree that we put on this front and this is not really who we are, or what are we saying?
I think that we're not taught to be who we are. We're taught to be who we need to be, especially as Black people.
Interesting.
Imagine twice as good. You got to be twice as good. And now you got to be Black girl magic. You can't just be a Black girl. You got to be magic. You understand what I'm saying? You just can't exist and be. It's got to be excellent. You got to have a passport. Like, bruh, I can't just work and be at peace with my family. You understand what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. And so the idea of when you show up, you pull up, you are enough. And that language, we don't share that with each other at all. Like, at the end of the day, I want you to be you. I want you to be you. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know who that is, then we don't have anything to talk about. But how many people, if you sit them down, mm-hmm. right? Like, sis, I see the lashes, baby, they fly. I see the makeup, I see it all. It's fire, all of it. And you get a dude, bro, I feel you got the money, you got boo, boo, boo. The suit is fitted. It's hoochie daddy season. You know what I mean? You show up with your thighs out. I love it. You understand? You all moist, them knees moist. But you got that. But tell me more about who you are. Tell me more about what it's like to be you. That's a different conversation.
I'm just trying to fall in the club, maybe have some bottle service. You see what I'm saying? Hang out with my boys. You and your girls are over here. Y'all chilling. I saw you. I thought there was some eye contact. So dude comes over there to holler. I ain't trying to come over there Aisha Griffenberg and have all this deep conversation. We're in the spot.
You have to.
Pulled up in the Lambo. That's a Lambo. So
and I see it.
What are we talking about here?
And I see the Lambo, and I'm a grown woman, and I know why you did it. You understand?
Okay.
But I'm not impressed with that.
Gotcha.
I'm not impressed with that.
Okay.
And because that's just about money. And if I wanted it, I can have it. But I don't value a Lamborghini like that. It's not practical. I don't value it. Someone else might value it, but I don't. And so if you approach me and you lead with that, you're going to get nowhere.
Okay.
Because you're not, that doesn't do anything for me. That's not, I see that all the time. I see that at the grocery store. It means nothing to me. But if you come up to me like, what's up, Ish? How you doing? You want to vibe? You and your girls want drinks? Let's have a good time. That's different. If you pull up like, oh, you want to drive in my Lambo? No. Well, what is that? You're a creep with a Lambo.
Okay. So what I am hearing you say is that there are a lot of, and this you didn't use these words, but this is what I'm hearing. There are just a lot of broken people that are out in these streets trying to connect. And I think that their brokenness, would you say that they are broken and thus they draw broken energy, or are they broken and they're looking for somebody to make them whole?
I would say that they're incomplete.
Okay, help us understand the difference between broken and incomplete, or would they be the same?
Because broken seems more like something's wrong. Something's
okay. That's fair.
As opposed to there are developmental experiences and stages that you didn't go through, right?
Okay.
That was incomplete. So you weren't able to develop your own interests, ideas, what you like, who you are, and feel comfortable in that. So you're not where you need to be emotionally, not broken.
Gotcha. Okay. So kinologists, those that are listening to the podcast, I will now take broken out of my vocabulary in coaching. All right. And AG, I can credit you for that one. So there you go. All right. So no more saying broken for me. My new word I will use in its place is incomplete. Gotcha. See, told y'all I am learning stuff. All right. So if you are one of 200 women that are in this space suggesting, what are the other 199 doing? So would it be like the dude gonna be like, all right, she too much work. Let me go over here and try to holler at somebody that might be a little bit more impressed with the fact that I got these Lambo keys that I'm just dangling from my finger and swinging around so everybody can see. Is that the way it's played? Because we sound like we're moving into game time. This is how the game is played. Is that what we're suggesting here?
Sure. And that's a transaction. So if you wave the keys to get her attention, when you don't have the keys, you don't have her attention. And so what you're doing is you're trading. And that's it. People don't want to deal with a fair trade. So you want to get a woman because you have money, but the moment you don't have money and you lose the woman, you're mad at the woman. When you set up the contract, that's the contract. And it's a transaction. The transaction is if I have X, if I have this, then I have you. And everybody cool with that. But now you can't have it both ways. You can say, oh, you got to love me for me. No, you didn't present you. You presented the car. That's what you led with. And so because you led with the car, now that you don't have that, you don't have me. That makes perfect sense.
Okay. So, okay. All right. So I'm with you. Now, I got to ask this question because I don't want cats coming at me talking about, man, you let her off the hook on that one. How does that door swing the other way? Because again, if sister girl is just, let's say in the gym all the time, body just tight, can't hate on her at all, right? Regardless of her size, she looked good for her presentation and she's worked to get it. So get to her, get with her, and you're going through these phases. And now you got into phase 4, which is the agreed upon terms, meaning what is this? Are we an item or blah, blah, blah? Incidentally, that's normally where the ultimatum comes in at, is phase 4, when it's like, what are we trying to call this? But we'll cover that here down the road here in this conversation. So are you suggesting that if she no longer can maintain her sexiness, whatever you want to call it, her presentation, then he too has the right to say you didn't present who you were. You kind of, should have stayed out the Haagen-Dazs.
You know what? I actually have had this experience where I've known of a dude that said to a woman, I don't want you going over a certain weight, right? I don't want you going over a certain weight.
Mm-hmm.
And his idea was, look, you don't work. I provide for you. You don't have to work. There's no reason why you should be over a certain weight. And that he told her that before. So they had shared information, right? Whether I agree with it, you agree with it or not, that's shared information. If you say to someone, look, I'm going to provide a lifestyle that's comfortable for you, very comfortable. You don't have to worry about anything. All I'm asking of you is that you maintain a certain physique. I don't think anything's wrong with that. If somebody co-signed it and they agree with it, then you agree to it. But then if there's no medical issue going on with you, and this man is saying, all you need to do is go to the gym that I paid for and the car that I bought you, you ain't got to do nothing. I don't have no problem with that. If Leroy is like, I'm gone, Felicia, I don't have no problem with that. Who has a problem with that? If we agree, this is a shared agreement, right?
Okay.
That's shared information. And when a woman says to you, I'm going to stay with you, I'm going to ride with, as long as you're providing this for me. The moment you can't provide it for me, I'm not going to be here. Why can't we have those communications? So then you understand that this is not based on love. This is based on a transaction. We're not rooted in love. We're rooted in what you can do for me and how you look. And that's fine if everyone agrees to it, period.
Okay. So my other formula then, based on what you just said, is communication plus information equals expectations. Is that what we're saying?
The way that I would put it is also, I don't use the language of expectations. I use the language of consent. And so if someone says to you, if we just go with the weight, hey, look, this is what I find attractive. This is what I want. I'm making it. You don't have to worry. Do you agree? Is this something that you agree that you're willing to do? You're willing to be a part of, period. And if that person says, yes, so I've given you informed consent, meaning that I've given you information for you to make a decision. Is this something you want to do or not? I'm not judging you one way or the other. Do you agree? This is what it takes to make me happy.
Isha G, I ain't saying anything was wrong with that. How do you secure the bag in that moment? If the goal is to secure the bag, that is some pressure. That is some pressure. Now, what you're saying, again, accurate. I get it. But in the moment, especially when you don't have your own bag and you got an opportunity to secure one, and he actually does own that Lambo and got one more at home, and he's 6 figures plus, his ears is meeting and greeting. So in the moment, she doesn't have a bag of her own, and she has an opportunity to secure a bag. That sounds great. The question, I guess, is it sustainable? Do you really understand what you're getting yourself into?
Here's the thing. If it's a transaction, it's a transaction. See, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I want a rider. No, a person that's riding for you loves you. They love you. And if you want to be loved, then you got to lead with who you are. Because if you lead with what you got, then that's what I want. That's what you start the conversation with the Lambo. So let me get in it. As long as you got the Lambo, I'm going to be right there with you looking good. My makeup on, everything. We're going to look good, okay? You ain't even got to worry about nothing. I'm going to be fire on time, all the time for you. But you lose that Lambo, I ain't nothing to say. Because you built the foundation on that. Because if you want that, then you got to maintain that. But the problem is that grown people know is that money come and money go. It's just the way it is. As easy it is to get it, you get a couple downturns and you done lost it. Look at the pandemic.
For sure.
People lost their job overnight. You got your money in crypto, lost that overnight. But if that's what you want, you got to understand that that's up and down. That's your choice.
Okay, now normally I don't like, because I'm getting ready to break my own rule here. Normally I don't like to break things down by gender, because I think a lot of the things that we find ourselves challenged with in coaching and therapist sessions, in my experience, people try to break them out by gender. And that just bugs me to no end, because it boxes women in, it boxes men in, when these are behaviors that, again, the door swings both ways on a lot of the things in a relationship. I'm going to break that rule in this moment because I do understand that just from a man-to-man perspective, we are about things. And so even though our want to be seen is want to be seen with our things. And then from a, keeping it gender specific, from a female aspect, it's about being seen by how she might be presenting. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree. And I think that therein lies the problem, but go ahead.
So I'm trying to understand, again, as I said before, is this just about the game that has been going on since the beginning of time? And if so, I personally don't think the game has evolved. It's just new players in the game. But if we reverse those roles, what is happening with women? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know you're going to give me a straight answer. What's happening with women, especially during this particular time where it's all about booties and so on and so forth? It's all about your external presentation. What would your thoughts be on that? What's going on with women where that is seemingly the movement, is not necessarily the taking care of that inner person, and we're going to get to men in a minute, not taking care of your inner person, but ensuring that your outer person shines bright while you're nursing an injured person inwardly?
It's exactly the same thing. So with the performance of femininity, this ultra exaggerated female shape, really small here, voluptuous all over, it's the same exact thing as a Lambo. It's a performance of femininity. This is a performance of masculinity. You know, I have all this money, I have all this whatever. Those are equal. They're the same thing. So when you see women taking it up with this sort of beauty and plastic surgery, and this is a segment, this isn't all women, right? This is a segment.
Sure.
When you see that, obviously you're going to see men with this like hyper display of materialism and consumerism and money and clothes, and they go hand in hand. And so as you see men flexing more, you're going to see women trying to get more attention, being whatever they believe men desire on that level, so that we can trade, right? You got this money, I got this booty, let's make this trade. And so as long as we're doing that, and it has been that way for a very long time, there's no happiness there. There's duty and there's fidelity, but there's no satisfaction, right? There's no deeper satisfaction. Do I like my house? Sure. Do I like coming home to it? Probably not. Because I got this pretty woman that can't cook. I can't even talk to her. She can't take a joke. She don't like none of the stuff I like, but she look good. What type of life is that?